a win rate rivaling Eddie Merckx, and he's still in his mid-20s. Tadej Pogačar didn't just become cycling's greatest Slovenian champion, he became the rider nobody can figure out how to stop. And the real story of why doesn't begin on a podium. It begins on a forgotten Italian climb where everything fell apart. This northern Slovenian region is defined by its rugged limestone karst terrain. Here, roads twist over short, steep ascents like the Stahovica climb, where narrow pavement and sharp curves force constant balance. At 9 years old, Pogačar followed his older brother Tilen to the ROG Ljubljana cycling club. The youth coach, Miha Koncilia, ran ability tests at the local school and recruited him, handing the boy a green Bilato road bike that was far too large. Pogačar had to stretch to reach the pedals, but he adapted quickly on the undulating karst roads. This terrain became his daily laboratory. The constant weight shifting, tight cornering, and explosive bursts required to ride these routes shaped his aggressive climbing habits from the very start. His family supported the pursuit, even selling a small plot of farmland to fund his early equipment and travel. ROG Ljubljana provided the structured races that turned this natural environment into a training ground. By the time he was a teenager, the quiet roads of Komenda had already built the baseline of an elite athlete, long before the world noticed his name. In April 2017, 19-year-old Pogačar lined up at the Giro del Belvedere, an Italian one-day race. Most biographies skip this afternoon, but the steep loop around the Conch Hill forced a tactical reinvention. Pogačar spent the early laps riding near the front of the peloton, matching the pace of seasoned under-23 contenders. However, as they hit the final climb, his chain dropped. The mechanical forced him to a complete stop. By the time he got his bike back into gear, the lead group had accelerated, opening a 30-second gap. A younger, more impulsive rider would have launched a frantic, immediate chase, burning all their remaining energy. Instead, Pogačar mounted his bike and began a long, steady pursuit, pacing his effort up the climb. He crossed the line in 10th place, exactly 10 seconds behind the winner, Alexander Ryabushenko. While Pro Cycling Stats records only a minor setback, the race altered his entire approach. Pogačar later wrote in a community forum that the Belvedere was a hard-earned lesson, teaching him to stay patient, keep his equipment immaculate, and wait for the precise moment to strike rather than forcing a reaction. This shift from raw, instinctive aggression to calculated restraint happened quietly on an Italian hillside, turning a talented junior into a patient strategist. Hauptmann served as the bridge, convincing UAE team Emirates management that this teenager from Komenda was ready for the World Tour. By early 2019, Pogačar signed his first contract with the squad. In elite cycling, young riders are almost always designated as domestiques, disposable support riders whose sole job is to shield team captains from the wind and carry water bottles until they drop from exhaustion. But the UAE management, led by sports manager Joksian Maxin, tore up the traditional script. Instead of burying him in the helper ranks, they fast-tracked him into a protected leader role. In plain terms, this meant the entire 9-man squad would sacrifice their own chances to keep Pogačar fresh, safe, and positioned perfectly for the final climbs. It was a massive institutional gamble. Pogačar's World Tour resume was limited, consisting of a single stage race victory at the Volta ao Algarve. Yet Maxin and Hauptmann saw a capacity for recovery and tactical composure that rivals had not yet committed to. They trusted his raw upside over established hierarchy. This move bypassed standard transfer logic, representing a quiet realignment of team trust that placed a multi-million-dollar World Tour operation squarely on the shoulders of an untested 21-year-old. To understand how Pogačar sustains this leadership, one must look past cycling mythology and into the hard data of modern sports science. His physiological foundation starts with a resting heart rate of 36 beats per minute. On grueling 5-hour training rides, he maintains a Zone 2 output of 320 to 340 watts, while his heart rate hovers at a highly efficient 150 beats per minute. When asked about his ultimate performance limit, Pogačar admitted he cannot even remember the date of his last laboratory VO2 max test. Instead, UAE team Emirates relies on real-world, field-based metrics. The team structures his preparation through a polarized training model, keeping 80% of his volume at low intensity to build an immense aerobic engine while sharpening his peak power through targeted altitude camps. But an elite engine requires an equally refined machine. Pogacar's success has tracked a precise equipment progression, moving from the specialized tarmac SL6 to the SL7 and eventually onto a highly tuned S-Works tarmac setup rolling on Roval wheels. He monitors every pedal stroke using SRM power meters to feed precise data back to team analysts. This technical precision extends directly to his fueling strategy, where he adheres to a strict protocol of 50 to 60 grams of carbohydrates per hour. Pogacar's dominance is not the result of a single genetic miracle. It is a highly integrated system where recovery metrics, technical equipment, and structured methodology align perfectly to redefine what is possible on two wheels. Success on the road instantly redrew the sport's financial map. After his breakthrough, Pogacar's reported salary surged to €5 million per year, turning him into cycling's most expensive asset. With this massive paycheck came global sponsors, commercial obligations, and relentless scrutiny from the cycling world. Every tactical move was now judged against his price tag. During the Tour de France, critics attacked his aggressive riding style, arguing that launching early, long-range mountain attacks risked catastrophic overexertion before the final time trial. They saw it as an unnecessary risk to the team's multi-million-dollar investment, threatening their commercial return. But team management fought back. Sports manager Joxi and Maxin defended the strategy, pointing to internal recovery data that proved his physiology could easily absorb the workload. Still, the pressure remains. When one rider becomes a franchise's main commercial property, a bad day on a mountain pass ceases to be a sporting setback and becomes a direct threat to the bottom line. By age 27, Tadej Pogačar has secured 4 Tour de France victories, a Giro d'Italia title, and 9 Monument Classics. His 2024 Triple Crown, winning the Giro, the Tour, and the World Championship in a single season, places him in direct comparison with Eddy Merckx and Bernard Hinault. Unlike the past, Pogačar maintains a modern win rate of roughly 20% against highly specialized rivals. Foremost among them is Jonas Vingegaard, a rivalry that has pushed Grand Tour racing to its physical absolute. Back home, this success has triggered a national cycling boom, sparking a 45% surge in ROG Ljubljana club membership. Whether Pogačar is already the greatest champion in cycling history remains an open, fierce debate. But as he continues to push the limits of the sport, the comparison is no longer a projection, it is an unavoidable truth. As professional cycling grows increasingly clinical, Pogačar's instinctual style defies the spreadsheets. He isn't just beating his rivals, he is forcing the entire sport to reinvent itself. The real question is no longer how he wins, but how long the world can endure his pace. Join the conversation in the comments below.